Welcome to the DSA QAG NAR Online. To access the website and log into the NAR Online system, please go to www.naronline.dsa-qag.org.uk, where you will be presented with this login screen. To log in, enter your user-designated email address and password provided by your system administrator, who is normally your centre manager, to log in. If you forget the password provided, click on Forgot Your Password, where you'll be taken to this page. Enter the email address you entered to reset your password, and this must be the same as the one you used to log in. If you can't remember this email, you'll need to speak to your centre manager, who will be able to remind you of this email address. Once the email has been entered and you click Send Password Reset link, you will receive an email to the email address you entered, where you'll be redirected via a link to a password reset page. Once you're logged in, you will be presented with the system dashboard. This is a quick overview of the number of reports currently allocated to you, the number of reports you are currently in the progress of completing, completed reports in the last 30 days, and the number of archived reports in the last 30 days. This is all displayed here. The menu system for the DSA QAG NAR Online is very simple. At the top, you have a search bar where you can enter a search and submit. You'll have your centre logo, a new report button where you can click to create a new report, your main menu, which has System Overview, the page you're currently looking at, all reports in progress, all reports in review, completed reports, and archived reports. Lastly, in the blue area at the bottom, you will see Systems links, where you'll be able to access form settings, centre settings, help, or log out. And at the very bottom of this blue section, you will find a user profile image, your system status, and your system number. This is important to know if you have any issues that require debugging. When in any of the main menu options, you will be presented with a list view of reports that fall under the main heading. For example, if you are in Reports in Progress, you will be able to see all reports that you're working on that are currently in progress. The menu option means Reports in Progress are all reports that have been started or are in progress by the assessor. Reports in Review are all reports that have been marked for review by the assessor and are in the QA process with the internal QA reviewer. Complete reports are all reports that have been completed and are now going through the stage of sending the report to the student and the funding body. And archived reports are all reports that have been completed, sent to funding body, and are no longer needing attention of an assessor or a QA reviewer. The reports are presented in a list view with the key information that will be needed to help identify quickly and provide an overview of the user and its status. All the information are as follows. The ID number is the identification number of the needs assessment report. The student name is the name of the student that the needs assessment report is being carried out for. The assessor is the assessor that has been allocated to the needs assessment report. The date is the date that the needs assessment report meeting with the student is carried out. Days left is the number of days left since the meeting that has been held back with the student until the report is due to be submitted. Initially, this is set to 10 working days as standard, and 5 days are added if the NAR status is changed to Send Draft to Student. The NAR progress is the progress the needs assessment report has within the system between the assessor, the QA reviewer, and anyone else within the centre team. The NAR status is the status of the needs assessment report once it has left the centre, so between the needs assessment report student and the funding body. Revisions is the number of revisions that have taken place within the report, so the number of times that the report has been sent to the QA reviewer and back to the assessor for review, to the QA reviewer again, and back to the assessor. This revisions counter will increase. The edit button is what you click to edit the needs assessment report, and the delete button is what you click to delete the report. When you wish to delete a report, you'll be presented with a pop-up which will confirm if you would like to delete the report. Doing this will remove the report from the system. As a system administrator, you will have access to your centre settings where you'll be able to edit centre information and add outreach centres, add and edit your team, change user passwords, edit team members and reset passwords. Simply go to Centre Settings where you'll be provided with this page. Right here is all of your centre settings. It shows you all your centre information and any outreach centres that you are currently in use of. By clicking Edit, you'll be able to go through and change things such as the centre name, address, telephone number, postcode and email address. You can delete an outreach centre or you can add an outreach centre. If you're happy with everything, click Save and it will save. On the top bar here, you'll be able to click on Team, where you'll be able to see all of the team members that you currently have within your system. By clicking Edit, you'll be taken to the team member page, where you're able to upload an image, change the person's name, change the system role. So currently this member is set to system admin. They can be changed to QA reviewer, assessor or admin. Here you can set their specialities, you can set their email address or change their password or delete them. To upload an image, the image will need to be a JPEG, a PNG or a GIF no larger than 2 megabytes. To add a team member, simply click on Add a Team Member. Very similar to the Edit Team Member page, you will be asked to upload an image, set a first name, surname, choose the role of the user, which could only be admin, assessor or QA reviewer, as system admins like yourself will be set by DSA QAG. Choose the user's specialities, set the email, set the password and save. Specialities are represented on the team member page where you can see quickly how many specialities this user has. To start a new needs assessment report, click New Report. You'll be taken to the summary page, which is the first thing that you'll see. This will show you the needs assessment report number, the student name and the student disability. To set the student name and student disability, go to section 1 for student name, enter a student name, and hit save. And then go to section 3, where you can choose a disability from the drop-down. After clicking save and returning to the summary, you will see that this has been updated. This is not required when you start a new report, as this will be filled out by the assessor, but is just to visualize how this would work. Below this is student consent. Student consent gives DSA QAG the ability to quality review the reports. Without student consent, the report will not be shared with DSA QAG and will stay only within your centre. The NAR progress controls give you the option to indicate what progress the system has for this needs assessment report. Initially, the report will be set at created until something has been changed within the report. As earlier on we changed the student name and the student disability, it is now indicating the report is in progress. Once the report needs to be quality assured internally, you can set it to a waiting centre QA. Once it has been quality assured and has an edit, it will go to return to assessor, and then once it is complete, it can be marked as QA complete. These options are available at the top of every section so that it can be indicated on a section by section basis. Once the report is marked as complete, you'll have options for the needs assessment report status. The needs assessment report status allows you to be able to show where the needs assessment report is in relation to the outside world. The draft has been sent to a student, the report has been issued to the funding body, it's on hold, it's been cancelled, it's complete, or it's been archived. These options will not be made available until you have set the whole report as being complete and saved, where, as you'll see, these options now become available. At the bottom here, you're able to set the centre needs assessor that's working on this report as a particular user, and you'll be able to set the QA reviewer based on what QA reviews are available within your centre. And lastly, you'll be able to export the report. By clicking View, this will open the report as a PDF in your browser, where you'll be able to download it in any location that you would like. By clicking Download, this will download the report in a compressed zip format so that it downloads faster, and this will be saved to your download folder on a PC or Mac. As you progress through the Needs Assessment Report, moving through Section 1 through to Documents, as you complete the report as an assessor, when the section is complete, you can mark that section to be reviewed by a quality assurance agent within your centre. When clicking this, you will see that this changes to blue, and when moving on to Section 2, you'll see it remains blue. As you move through the whole report, you can change this to be set to QA review on all sections. But if you forget to do so, you can go back to the summary page and change it to Awaiting Centre QA. This will update all sections to show as blue, which will notify the QA reviewer within your centre that the report is ready to be reviewed. The purpose for this is so that they get notified and you can move on to another report as an assessor, knowing that this one is going to be looked at by a QA reviewer. A QA reviewer, when they're in all reports in review, will now see that the report that you've marked as Awaiting Centre QA is now showing to them as Awaiting Centre QA. They have several options when they are looking at the NAR Online. They can, like you, mark it as QA complete to say that the whole report is up to standard and is good to go, either to be sent to the student or to be sent to the funding body. However, if they're in Section 1, for example, and they realise the date of birth is missing and they don't know the student date of birth and can't fill it out for the needs assessor, they can leave a comment, date of birth is missing, hit save, and mark it as returned to assessor. By doing this, when you go back to all reports in review as an assessor, you'll see that it has been set as returned to assessor. As an assessor, you'll be able to go back into the report, see that Section 1 is highlighted orange, click on it, read that the date of birth is missing, so it is, set the date of birth, hit save, mark that as Awaiting Centre QA, and then the Centre QA will be notified that that section has been updated. They can go in, see it's Section 1, okay. Date of birth has been set, fantastic. Hit save, and then mark that section as QA complete. The whole bar will be lit up green, and the report will now go in to QA complete. At this point, the NAR status will become available. This is where you'll be able to set it to drafted student, report issued to funding body, on hold, cancelled, complete, or archived. Saving is an important part of the system. When new information is entered into any of the fields, you will see that the background greys out and that next to the save button, it mentioned this section is saved, please save to continue. You must click the save button on every area that information is changed for a save to occur. If you enter in some information and don't click save and move on to another section, upon returning to that section, that information will not be saved. These visual cues are in place so that when information is added to the system in a section, you are notified that a save must take place for that to be done. You'll get a section save date and an update over to the right. Within Section 5, you have the option to add a new hardware item. By clicking Add, a new field will become available where you can add another item. And another. If you make a mistake and realize that the student doesn't need this hardware item, you can click Clear and it will remove it. If you actually realize that you would like to add it back in, you can click Add and re-enter it. If you clear an item from the order, so changing computer for example, and hit Save, going away from the page and returning, you will see that that item no longer shows up. This is the same for software and general allowance. By adding a new input, you'll be able to see that that input becomes available to enter some new information, and that by clicking Clear, it will be removed. Within Section 6, this is also the same when it comes to ergonomic specialist item quotes and reimbursements. You can add another by clicking this button here and clicking Clear if you wish to remove it. Clicking Add to add it again, clicking Add another to add another, clicking Clear to remove it, and clicking Clear to remove this. These options to add will remain until you click Save and move away from the page. So moving away to Section 7 and returning back to Section 6, you will see that those options are now no longer there and it just has Add Another. The same method applies to ergonomic, ATT, and NMH, where you can add another NMH, enter all the information, or remove it. Simple as that. Using the NAR Online makes filling out a needs assessment report much easier. One way in which this is the case is when adding a supplier. DSA QAG have pre-populated a database of suppliers when you start entering a supplier's name. By entering the first three letters of the supplier's name and choosing that name, their information will be pre-populated in Section 8, where you'll be able to see all the information is available without you having to go copy and paste it into this section. When entering a supplier, if you find that the name of the supplier doesn't exist, you'll get a new supplier detected pop-up. By filling out the details requested, and clicking Add Supplier, the supplier is now added to the database. So when you enter into the supplier box again, you'll see that supplier is now available to select. By selecting it and clicking Save, when going to Section 8, you'll now see that John's House supplier has been added to Section 8 under Assistive Technology Training. This will now be able to be used by anyone within your centre, as it's now been added to your centre's supplier database. This will make filling out this section much quicker and more efficient. The same principle applies for ergonomic equipment, assistive technology training suppliers, and non-medical helper suppliers. At the top, when it comes to ATSP, however, the supplier options are pre-populated by DSA QAG, and by choosing one, will pre-populate Section 8 in the same way. When populating Section 6, after you've selected the suppliers for ATSP and ergonomic equipment, upon going to Section 8, you'll see that all of those suppliers' details have been pre-populated with their information. When adding a quote for ATSP and ergonomic equipment, you may need to upload a quote for the funding body. You can upload quotes individually or combine them all in one document and then upload that document, and these will all be added to the exported NAR at the end of the document. To upload, simply click Upload, select the document that you would like to upload, and the system will upload the document. To delete a document, simply click Delete. If you want to re-upload the document, simply click Upload again, but make sure to choose a file with a different name. As you can see, in section 6, we only chose 2 suppliers. Therefore, in the document section, you only require 2 uploads. If another supplier is added, another upload will be required. But as mentioned before, this can be uploaded in one singular document and doesn't need to be uploaded 3 separate documents to the 3 different upload areas. When uploading a quote document to the system, it must be uploaded in a PDF format. It will upload and show the name here, and this is all that's required prior to exporting the needs assessment report. Sometimes, when filling out text-heavy sections of the needs assessment report, such as section 4, you may need to bolden text. To bolden text, you simply wrap brackets round the words that you would like to bolden. Above every input that has a lot of text that can be entered, it says, to bolden text, wrap the words you would like to make bold with brackets. Example, this is bold. To do this, you start typing, this is bold. Now this text won't be bold, but if I put a bracket and type this is bold, and close the bracket, this part of the sentence here, that's wrapped in brackets, will display as bold in section 4 of the needs assessment report. We can view this by going to View the Report. The report will generate, and I can go to this section of the report that we've just entered. As you can see, the first part, this is bold, is not bold, but the second part, this is bold, has been boldened. There are some sections of the report that have intricacies that are required to be set in different areas of the system. In section 1, when you go to Venue Type, under Assessment Venue, you'll see that this is automatically set to the main centre. Within the drop-down, you can see that DSA QAG CAU is available. This means that we have set the venue type to be an outreach centre located here. To add an outreach centre, this can be set within Centre Settings. As you can see, this outreach centre is marked here. To add another one, click Add, give it a centre name, the address, and click Add. If we go back to the reports and click on a report and go into section 1, we'll now see that under venue assessment, the venue type, we can go to Outreach Centre 2, which was just added, and we can choose that as the assessment venue. As you can also see, the address has been updated and now populates as the address that we just entered. One intricacy of the NAR Online exists in section 2 under Higher Education Provider. To select a higher education provider, start typing the first 3 letters of the institution's name and you'll see a drop-down list provided to you. By selecting the institution's name and hitting Save, this will pre-populate all the provider's information in the export. So by going to Export and View, you'll see all of the University of Oxford's information has been pre-populated without you having to fill that out. In section 2, you'll also see contact name, role, address line 1 and line 2. When populating this, and clicking Save, this will populate all of the information under Higher Education Provider in Section 8. Another element in Section 2 exists around current year of study. If you have a student where they have a start date and an end date, but no year of study because they're a prospective student, as it says within the text box, leave blank for prospective, if you just leave this text box blank, it will populate in the export as prospective student instead of having a year of study. Search on the DSA QAG NAR Online is very simple. The search bar exists on the top left-hand corner of the page. You can search for a number of different things: report ID, report name, assessor name. If you start typing in the search bar for the name of a student and hit submit, you'll get results for the name that you searched. Here are 2 reports with the student name of Matthew. The same goes for the student ID. If I search for report 16, I'll get returned results for report 16 and the ID of 16. There are areas of the needs assessment report where centres can commonly populate these fields with the same information over and over again. This information sometimes relates to centre-specific information that doesn't change and stays the same for every needs assessment report. To allow for this, we have added a form settings area. The form settings area allows you to enter a preset piece of text into certain parts of the needs assessment report. So, for example, section B2, Impacts of Disability and Recommended Strategies, under Key Impacts, we're putting, this is some pre-populated text. When you hit Save and hit New Report, under section 4 in B2, we'll see this is some pre-populated text. Now it's important to note that this is for the Needs Assessment Report number 20. Now if I go back into the form settings and I change this text here to say this has been updated today and now says this, and then save it, when I create a new report, go to section 4, I'll see that it now says this has been updated today and now says this. And this report is now report number 21. But if we go to all reports in progress and we go to report number 20, the one that we looked at previously, and go back into section 4, you'll see that that change hasn't appeared here. That's because when you update form settings, it only puts the changes you make into new needs assessment reports that have been created and will not update old reports. This is important so that we're not overwriting information on old reports that may have been important then but has been changed now. Going back into form settings, you'll be able to see that removing this, hitting save, going back into all reports and viewing report number 20, you'll see that under section 4, that information is still there. But when creating a new report, under section 4, that information is no longer there.